Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Watering Hole webinar. My name is Brian Caparici. I am the CEO and founder here at Sprout Studio. We are simulcasting this webinar today, so I want to give you a couple shout outs. Number one, if you're watching in the webinar platform live, hello, and thank you for watching live, and thank you for hanging out. If you're watching the webinar replay, thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you for watching the replay. Thank you for spending some time with us today. And if you're watching on Facebook Live, thank you for hanging out live. Or I guess if you're watching the replay on Facebook, thank you for watching the replay on Facebook. Hey, we appreciate you guys being here. We appreciate you spending a few minutes, well, I guess a little more than a few minutes with us today. And I promise it's going to be well worth your time. And we're excited to dive into it. So let me hop on over and let's share my screen. We're going to walk through what the plan is today. So what is the plan? Today, you are going to learn how to use email marketing to grow your business. You're going to learn how to use email marketing within Sprout Studio, and you're going to see how to design the most beautiful emails on the market. I cannot wait. Wherever you are, whether you're in the webinar, whether you're in the Facebook Live, and whether you're watching live or not, just let us know. Are you using email marketing in your business today already, or is it something that you want to be using? Or are you like, email marketing, that's like so 2012, I'm over that. Let us know what you're thinking and what your intent is with email marketing. If you're watching the webinar outside of Facebook, Braden and Drew have prepared some polls. Click the polls button in the top. We'd love to hear what brings. I'm back. Can you hear me? Can you see me? I think I'm back. Gotta love tech. I think I'm back. Here's again the plan. We have 30 minutes to do a demo here for email marketing. I'm going to spend 15 minutes afterwards for a Q&A, and there will be a replay available, whether you're going to watch it in a webinar platform that we're using, whether you're watching it in Facebook Live, there will be a replay. So no stress there. Quick introductions. My name is Brian Caparici. I'm the CEO and founder here at Sprout Studio. I have been a wedding and portrait photographer for over 15 years here in Niagara, Ontario, Canada. So I've been where you are. I know what it's like to be in your shoes. I've also been teaching photographers just like you about the business of photography for over 12 years. I have been married to my wife, Allie. This slide always trips me up. I've been married to my wife, Allie, for almost 11 years now. And we have 3 beautiful kids, Ava, who's 8, Ben, who's 5, Andrew, who's 3. That is us. That is me as the founder. Let's talk a little bit about you. Well, hey, we exist. We are here to help you make a living doing what you love. Try saying that 5 times fast. We help you make a living doing what you love. That is our mission. That is our vision. That is why we exist. That is everything that we do. We cipher through, we filter through that statement to say, hey, are we helping people make a living doing this wonderful thing they love, which is photography? And we hope that you can say a very passionate heck yes to that, maybe some more colorful words if you so choose. That is why we exist. That is why we're here. And we're hoping that today in the webinar all about email marketing, you can see more of that through the lens of email marketing. Yes, pun intended through that. Let me introduce you to some of the folks that we have with us from the Sprout team on the webinar today. Joining us, we have Drew, who leads up partnership marketing over at Sprout. Drew, I know that he's in the webinar platform. Say hello. You're maybe not in Facebook, but if you are Drew in Facebook, say hello over there as well so everyone can see you in all the platforms. We're live over there. Braden is with us as well. He's our customer success advocate. Braden basically owns these webinars. Braden kind of takes these, runs with them. He's like our cheerleader. He's there, and he's there to be your cheerleader to make sure that you see success and that you achieve all of your goals and all of your dreams with Sprout Studio as your secret weapon. So Braden, say hello in whatever platform you can find in front of you on your computer to say hello. And lastly, but certainly not least, we have Justin, our Director of Customer Success at Sprout. He is one of the go-to guys. He is the OG customer support specialist from Sprout Studio. I'm sure a lot of you guys have talked with Justin, have had a chance to connect with him. Maybe I've had a bit of event session with him here and there. Who knows? But Justin's here and he's going to help answer questions in the webinar today if any questions happen to arise. So with that, let's kind of transition and talk a little bit about what the plan is today. So we're going to get into email marketing in Sprout. I'm going to open up Sprout. I'm going to show you how to embed things. I'm going to show you how to do signups. I'm going to show you how to build things. We're going to get into all the weeds of all the things with email marketing in Sprout Studio. But the first thing that I want to do is spend a minute in this presentation, this keynote, kind of walking through some of the framework, some of the skeleton of what is email marketing in Sprout, how do we structure it, how do we use it, and how can you understand it? So with that, let me go back on over to my screen here. There we are. And let's kind of break it out this way. I'm going to maybe hide my face here. There we go. Email marketing in Sprout, we break it down into two parts. The first part is who's the email going out to? Now, we call that an email list in Sprout Studio. The second part is what and when is that email going out? So who's the email going out to? That's what we call an email list. So those are the people that are actually going to get the email. And what and when is the email going out? That's what makes up the actual campaign itself. So those are two kind of definitions that you're going to want to just keep in mind and keep an eye out for as we get in and start to work through some of the nuance and some of the nitty-gritty of using the tools within Sprout Studio. There's two parts of it, one being an email list, one being an email campaign. Now, let's take an email list. And again, if you remember, an email list is who the emails are going out to. So an email list can be one of these things. Number one, it could be dynamically generated, meaning that you can say, hey, Sprout, you have all these shoots, or I have all these shoots in Sprout. I want to send it out to this certain subset of my shoots. Or, oh, hey, Sprout, I have all these galleries. I want to send this email campaign out to this subset of galleries. So you can have it dynamically be generated based on all of the information, based on all of the leads, based on all of the shoots, based on all of the contacts that you already have in Sprout Studio. So that's the dynamically generated part. The second part is the sign-up form. So you can actually build a sign-up form in Sprout in an email list and then embed that onto your website. I'm going to show you that shortly, but you can embed that onto your website so that folks can find their way into your website. You can have a pop-up, you can have an inline form, you can have a slide-in form, and folks can fill that out and then be added to an email list. The third option is manual entry. So if you just want to add someone manually to an email list, you can. And the last option is an import CSV, meaning you can take a CSV from any other system with a list of email addresses and names and import them into an email list. So that is email lists within email marketing within Sprout Studio. And again, you can do one of these things, you can do two of these things, you can do three, you can do all. So it's not an either or. An email list is just basically a bucket. Again, going back to this definition, an email list is a bucket of who is the email going out to. So it can be dynamically populated via a sign-up form, manually entered, or imported as a CSV. Now let's go and take a look a little bit deeper into sign-up forms. Because again, if you remember, how is an email list built? Well, it could be from a sign-up form. So a sign-up form is basically either built from an inline form, from a pop-up form, or from a slide-in form. And I'm going to go through all of those and actually show you examples of those in just a moment. But an inline form is basically embedded within your content. A pop-up form is something that pops up onto your website, and a slide-in form is something that slides in from the top or bottom of your website. So that's how you get people from a sign-up form into an email list. Now let's break down an email campaign, because again, if we go back all the way back to this first definition, who is it going out to, and what and when is it going out? So we just talked about who. Now we're going to talk about the actual campaign, the actual contents of what is going out and when it's going out. So if we kind of go back on up here, so the email campaign can either be a single bulk email, which is something that you send once and it's one email. So you kind of basically blast this out. Or it could be an email drip campaign, which is something that you set live. It can be ongoing, and you can have as many emails in that as you'd like. And then within that, all of your individual emails can either be a plain email, which is like you just type something out in Gmail. It could be a pretty email, which has a hero and a nicely styled body content, or it could be a designer email, which is fully customized and fully designed. I'm going to show you all that in just a moment. So that's just like a quick run through the high level. Again, I kind of went through that quickly, but I wanted to create some definitions here so that you had some context as I now go and share Sprout with you. So let me know, again, if you have any questions, happy to answer them. But otherwise, I'm going to run through and we're going to start running through email marketing and all of these nuances here live in Sprout Studio. So on the left-hand side, I'm in the email marketing tab here. So in email marketing, again, you can see there's that email campaigns. There's that email list. I'm going to quickly just flip back here just to, again, kind of bring this back up, and we'll kind of return to this every now and then. An email list is who it's going out to. An email campaign is what and when it's going out. So looking at here, we have email campaigns. So that's what and when it's going out. And we have email lists, which is who it's going to. So if I click email lists here, you can see I've already got an email list created here. I'm just going to make a new one just for a moment so I can show you the top part here. So within an email list, you can make this, and you can make as many email lists as you'd like. So I may call this my my new clients list. And in this auto add contacts, this is where you can say, hey, Sprout, I want you to go ahead and automatically add contacts from my Sprout CRM into this email list dynamically. So for example, I could say, I want to go shoots and I want the status to be booked. So I can go here, I can take a look, there's 5 recipients. If I open that up, it kind of previews me who those people are who are going to be getting these emails. Now I can take this and I can add as many layers of filtering as I'd like. So I can say, well, I need them to have inquired between this date and this date. And I need them to be assigned to this specific shoot. And I need them to be this specific kind of shoot type. I can go down, I've got none. Now, this is just an example, but you can see how granular you can get by saying, I'd like the status to be this. I want the shoot type to be this. I want the inquiry date to be this. So you can get in here and get as granular as you'd like to so that you can make sure that you send the right emails to the right people at the right time. And so that's how you can dynamically build that. Now, again, you can go down here and change this to leads. So do the same thing for leads, or just be, hey, contacts. I want it for all contacts in a certain city or in a certain country, or that were added between a certain time. Or you could leave it as none and just import your CSV right here. Or you could do a combination of the two. So you can, again, mix and match these so that you're building the email list the way that you want to build it. If you click this add recipients, you can search for existing contacts. You can add one manually, or you can import a CSV. So it's very flexible based on what you want to be doing with your email marketing efforts here. So I'm just going to close this because what I want to show you next is hopping in and building those sign-up forms. So if you go in here and you click new sign-up form, you can see you can add as many of these as you want, and each of them has their own embed code. So you take this, you configure this sign-up form here for this list, and basically then you take that, you take the embed code, put it on your website, and anyone that signs up from that sign-up form will be added to this list. So let's just kind of open up this pop-up one just to kind of give you an illustration of what you can do. So over here, it kind of shows you a preview. Here's the pop-up, and then here's the thank you message. And over here on the left-hand side, you can see all the flexibility, all the options that you have. You can say, hey, what kind of colors do you want? How do you want it to show up? When do you want it to show up? What do you want to be collecting? Do you want to have a dismissal time, and how long? Do you want to confirm or not to confirm? You can change, obviously, the image and the text and the content and the font style and the font weight. There's a lot of flexibility in here. You can even get in here and customize the buttons right here, for example. So I could do a fill button, or I could do an outline button. Let's go like that. And do you want the close button to be just X on the top, or do you want it to be text that says like, hey, no thanks? I'm sure you've seen it where it's like, no thanks, I hate free stuff. Right? You can do something like that, or just keep it simple and do it as an X. And the confirmation is this right here. So do you want there to be a thank you message, or do you want to redirect them to another URL once they're done, once they've signed it up? So you can basically go in here, you can tweak it all, you can keep it branded, and then you hop in here and there is the embed code. So we're going to show you that here in just a moment. But basically, I've gone through already and made a pop-up, I've made an inline form, and I've made a slide-in bar. You have to get each of those embed codes and put them on whatever page of your website that you'd like. So all you do is you simply copy this, and then if I go over here, I've got a WordPress page already pulled up here, just called sample page. This is using the new editor. And all you would do is press this plus button right here and click the custom HTML option. And when you do that, you're just going to paste the code right in there. Now, that's not actually going to be displayed, but instead, your WordPress page will render that as HTML on the site. So because it's a script code, it'll then embed and pull in your email signup form. Now, this is the same if you were using WordPress, the same as if you were using Squarespace or Wix or whatever. They all have the ability to customize the HTML or to add HTML or add JavaScript to a page. You just have to pick the page, copy and paste that embed code, and you'll have it. So if I actually go here to this live version of the page, you can see here, there's that live, the sort of inline form at the bottom there. You just saw that there was the slide in form, and I had that sliding up after 10 seconds. So it slid up there, and I've got the pop-up form set. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to not leave my page. There we go. I'm going to go in here, and you can see here, if I edit the pop-up form, I have that set up over here to be exit intent, meaning as soon as I go to leave the page, that pop-up form will come. So if I'm here on this page and I'm browsing and I go to leave, watch what happens as I go to leave. There it is. So there's that pop-up that comes up, asks me to do all that thing, and then I can now sign up. So if I were to type in my email address here, and then click get the guide, it's now going to take me to that thank you there, which is just a thank you message, or it could redirect if I had chosen to redirect. And if I go on over here and then open this up, you'll see that I have signed up for that. Oop, there it is. And there it is. So you can see there, that's how you get people into an email list. And again, you can customize all of these. You can make as many of these as you want. You can make one slide-in bar for one page, another slide-in bar for another page. It's completely customizable based on what you'd like to be doing. So that kind of gives you a lot of flexibility. And again, that is just the email list part of what you're going to be using. So if I, again, go back into here, there's those two parts. Who it's going out to, which is the email list. That's what we just talked about. And the next is what and when is it going to go out. So let's kind of go back in here into Sprout, and we're going to click email campaigns. And now that I'm in here, you can see I've already got one campaign created here. But if you click this add new button, there's two options: single bulk email or email drip campaign. Now let me just quickly run through this over here. Here's our two options: single bulk email, which basically means that this email is one email. You write it once, you click send, and it sends it to everyone that's on that list. So it's basically like an email blast. It's meant to go to a whole bunch of people all at one time, only once. That's what a single bulk email is. An email drip campaign, on the other side, can be a drip campaign in the sense that it's a sequence. So you can basically set it live, it can be ongoing, and you can have as many different emails within that as you'd like to have. So again, if I go back in here to Sprout, there's single bulk email, there's email drip campaign. Now, if I open up this email drip campaign that I've already created, you can see down here under email messages, there's those 4 emails. I can add as many emails as I want here. And for each of them, I can say when, in relation to the last email, are they going to go out. So this is where you can design that sequence, and you can have folks automatically be added to this as they match the conditions of the email list here. So you could choose a email list that you've already created. So as new people are added to that email list, they'll be added to this campaign. Or you could just build a custom set of filters just for this campaign right here in this campaign itself. So it's totally up to you, and you have a lot of flexibility on how to do that. So again, that's there. And then that's why I say, if we go back in here, when I say that an email drip campaign is set live and it's ongoing, basically as soon as a new person is added to your account that meets these criteria here, they're going to be added to this campaign. So they're going to start over at the top and run through. And if in 3 months from now this thing is still live, then they're going to be added again and brought down here. As people match the conditions, they'll be added and brought through, added and brought through. So that is a drip campaign here in Sprout. Now, what I want to do now is go into what I think is the most exciting part of email marketing within Sprout, which is the actual designer emails. So if I click edit on any one of these, I'm going to be editing that specific email in the sequence. So if I click edit, open that up here. Oh, actually, I need to go into the third one because I already have that one made. Let's go into here. There we go. So you can see here, I've got plain, pretty, or designer. And again, if I go back in here, let's just quickly bring this up to remind ourselves. We have plain email, which is as if I just opened it up, typed it in Gmail, press send. That's just a plain text email, nothing fancy. A pretty email is like a nice hero. It's got a header. It's got a slightly styled look to it, but it's nowhere nearly as flexible as a designer email, which is fully customizable. So those are those three options there. And again, if I go in here, you can see I've got plain, I've got pretty, and I've got designer. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to close out of this for a moment. I'm going to go into the first one and just kind of show you. So here's plain text. If I kind of type in some lorem ipsum there, you can see it's just like, this is a plain text email. So there's nothing fancy at all about this. You got a subject, you've got your contents, and there's everything right there. Now, if I flip this over to pretty, now it kind of gets, again, just a little bit more style. That's going to have this nice, pretty header up here. You can have this nice little heading. This is my heading. You can have your content down here. So it looks a little bit nicer than just a plain text, but it's certainly nowhere nearly as styled. If I click into designer, now I can edit the designer email and get a lot more flexible with it. So that's the difference between plain, pretty, and designer. You can use whichever one you feel most comfortable or that you feel is most appropriate for the email marketing campaign that you want to be sending out. So let's open up email number 3, and I'm going to go and edit the designer email here just to show you the tools that we've built for you and how easy and simple and quick it is to build these really beautiful emails really, really simply. So basically, the email is built up of a number of sections, and you could have a hero section, a quote section, a spacing, divider, logo, 1 column, 2 column, 3 column, 1 image, 2, 3, or an image collage. So you can see here, and with all of those, it's all basically drag and drop. So you can take those, move them around, add sections in between, and it's really simple and flexible. Now, what I'm going to do for the sake of this specific webinar is I'm actually going to delete everything within this, and I'm going to get back down to 0. And let's walk through each of these sections here just so we can kind of get a bit of an idea of what we're looking at in terms of the kinds of emails that you can build. So let's start with hero image. And so we've got hero image there. It starts like this. Now, for all of these sections, when I click on it, the sidebar changes. I can now upload an image. I can change the heading here or turn the heading off if I don't want the heading, change all the configurations of the heading. Same thing for content, which is the section below the heading. And then same thing for button. I can turn a button on or off, logo on or off. So you have all those controls both on and off, and then also customizing them. In addition to all of these configurations for the padding and the spacing and the bordering and all that kind of thing. So if I wanted to bump up some padding at the top and bump up some padding there, or remove the padding on the left and increase the padding on the right, or vice versa, I could do something like that. So there's a lot of flexibility with what you can do there. I'm just going to kind of go back to the reset there. And actually, I didn't reset that. Let me delete it and add a new one again. There we go. So there's that. Now, the other thing that you would have just seen that I kind of teased at you is that we have other layouts. So if you click this swap layout button, you can see here we have other layouts that we've kind of pre-designed for you. And you can do that, or you can just kind of thumb between them right here. And it kind of shows you those different ways that we can design that headline, or that you can choose from our designs. And then, of course, you can take that and tweak it and do all that customization the way that you'd like to. But we have these starting templates built out for you for each section so that you can design it and make these exactly the way that you want to make them. So that is the hero section there. So I'm just going to kind of leave that there, and let's go in now and let's add quote. So now let's with quote, again, going in here, we have image, call out text, which is the main stuff, and then byline, which is the sort of byline here. Okay, you can turn that on or off. Image, section option, a lot of options and configurations in there. And just kind of swapping between some of these options here, you can see, again, how beautiful and how simple it is to get these really gorgeous looking email campaigns built in here. Let's go in here and add spacing, which is just basically spacing. So I can click here, I can click section option, and I can just say how much spacing do I want to add in here. So it kind of gives you some flexibility just to build in some margin for yourself there. I'm actually going to delete that. And divider line is basically the same thing, only it is a divider line in addition to spacing. So you can say what's the height of it, and then you can say what's the width of that line and what's the thickness of that line. And then, of course, also what's the color of the line and what's the alignment of the lines. There's a lot of flexibility when it comes to that. So again, this is where I say it's really easy to make these look really, really beautiful, but you don't have to worry about coding or anything overly technical. It's drag and drop and click and drag and very, very easy for you to work with. Let's go into logo. Again, this is where you can just have your logo come on up here, and you can choose where you want it aligned, how big or how small you want it, and also all the padding options, as well as padding border options there. So let's actually bring that on up to the top. And maybe what we'll do is we will left align that and make it a little bit smaller. There we go. I like that. All right, let's go on down here. Let's click one column content. So this is just a chunk of content. And again, you have the option for heading. You have an option for image there if you'd like it. And you have an option for content to turn on and off. And again, for all of those, you can tweak everything within it. Now let's take that and go into 2 columns. So if we go in here, same kind of idea, but now we have 2 columns. And if I click into this, you have the options to edit column 1 and column 2. And for each, you can turn on and customize image, heading, content, button. You're seeing a pattern here, but just kind of going through and showing you all the different options. 3 columns, similar thing. The only difference is now we have column 1, column 2, and column 3. Close that on out, click this, and let's delete it just for now to keep things tidy in here. Moving on down, we have 1 image. So if I click on here, again, you've got image, heading, alt heading, content, and button. I'll show you alt heading in just a moment. I guess alt heading here, you can see there's like an option to throw that extra text on there. Let's kind of flip through and thumb between these different layouts that we have built for you here. I kind of like how that one looks. So you can see there, maybe I'll hide the heading just for now. Kind of love how that looks. Let's go there, and then we're going to go into the 2 image option here. So there's that. And again, with all those, image 1, image 2, and you can change image, heading, content, button. Let's kind of thumb between a few different options here. There we go. I kind of like this one. I love how that one looks. So we'll kind of leave that like that. And let's go into 3 image, which again, kind of gives you some options there. And then last but not least, we'll open up image collage, which gives you just a nice little grid of images there. And if you click into section options here, you can change how many images there are in total and how many, maybe I'll go down to 8, and how many columns there are. Are there 4 columns? Are there 2 columns? So on and so forth. There we go. So I'm going to kind of leave it at that. And you can see here just like how easy this is to build these really beautiful emails. And how easy it is to rearrange them and tweak them and customize them to your own liking in there. So that is the designer email functionality in Sprout. And what I want to do is, when you click here, it opens up this sidebar. If I close that out, you can see I've got some global settings here for this email. So if I click into here, let's just kind of thumb through these and take a look at some of these. So we have things like button style, and this will globally change all of the buttons within your email. I don't have any on here, I don't think. Actually, I do. So if I go radius, I can now change the radius, and all the radius buttons will change. If I increase that, you can see that all changes. If I click rounded, they all go round. If I go back into square, they all go square. So you can keep things nice and consistent. If I go here into color, this is where I can choose whether it's floating or fluid. So basically floating means it's going to have this floating section between this background here and the foreground here. So background, let's just make this red for a sec. Foreground, let's make this blue for a sec. So you can see there's background, there's foreground, that's floating. If I click fluid, there's now no longer a difference between the background and the foreground. I just now have these sections that kind of are fluid with the entire content. Now, obviously, I wouldn't want that to be like that, but you can see there how that would look. So if you didn't want it to be boxed in, you don't have to. Or if you want to keep it boxed in, then you can. Now, let's get rid of that because that is horrible. Let's go white and let's just kind of go like that. There we go. And then link color, which I don't think I have any links in here, but you can change your link color globally for the entire email there. And then in here into fonts, this is where you can set all of the fonts for all of your headings and content and buttons right in here. And we also have a suggested font pairing section. So if you want to kind of thumb through some of the configurations that we've pre-created for you, you can. And basically all it's doing is changing these here. So it just kind of gives you a chance to play around with some of our suggestions. But of course, you're welcome to hop in and really customize and tweak these to your own heart's content. And then we have this text wrapping, whether you want it to be hyphenated, you can see here, I am dash there, or you can keep it simple, which things will no longer then hyphenate. So you'll have a nice clean line break for things. And lastly, we have the footer section, which is there on every single one of the emails. This is where you can change the color. So if I wanted to go keep it in the background, there's the red. If you want to keep it red, let's go none just to kind of keep it sitting in the background. We can go like this to change the text color of it. Here's the alignment of everything. And this is where you can change your padding and all of that just for the footer, as well as any pre-footer text. So that is the designer email functionality here. Now, the nice thing is that this is all built to be very flexible, very customizable, and you can tweak all of this, but it's also built to be fully mobile responsive in the sense that this content, these images, these layouts will all be moving and shaping and tweaking for mobile devices. So what you see here is not necessarily what you're going to see perfectly on mobile, because that's just the nature of working in a digital world today. We have different devices, different screen sizes. And so what we've done is we've optimized all of these designs, all of these layouts for desktop and for mobile. So you can kind of tweak here for what you want on desktop. We will make it look great on mobile. So that's how that works. But the nice thing, and the reason that we've done it that way, is because everything here is built out to be fully HTML5 compliant, meaning that we're not just taking this and generating a whole bunch of images, but instead we're actually fully dynamically building this as an HTML email when we send this out to your clients. So that way you're not going to have any issues with, spam or with reliability or with accessibility or with emails being too big because they're just a bunch of images. This is all fully searchable, fully indexable, and fully scannable. So that is email marketing within Sprout Studio. Let's just kind of quickly run through and go through these big pictures again, just to make sure that we're all on the same page. So email marketing is broken up to two parts. Number one is who it's going out to. Number two is what and when it's going out. So who it's going out to is an email list. When it's going out and what's going out is the email campaign itself. Within an email list, you can have it dynamically generated, sign up from your website, a manual entry, or imported as a CSV. An inline form, for the forms, you can have an inline form, a pop-up form, or a slide-in form. And for an email campaign, you can have a bulk email, which is a one-time email, or a drip campaign, which is ongoing. It can be multiple emails. Within that, for a specific email, it can be a plain email, it can be a pretty email, or it could be a designer email. So that is pretty much it. I'm happy to answer any questions, but I know that we're kind of looking at everything in a bunch of different channels here. So maybe what I will suggest is that if you have any questions, feel free to reach on out to Justin and Lucia and Braden in support. You can call them. Here's a number here on the page. You can email us. You can click the messenger icon right within Sprout, or you can post into the Facebook group that we have. You might actually be watching this in the Facebook group, or you might not be. I'm not sure. If you're not, come join us. We'd love to have you. Otherwise, this is where you can get in touch with us, and this is where we can carry the conversation on from here. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you for spending some time with us. We appreciate you. We appreciate your time. And we hope that you've seen today how with email marketing, you can grow your photography business and use Sprout as a tool to help keep things more organized and give your clients a better experience. Thank you so much for hanging out. And we'll talk to you guys all soon. Bye.